On Chronicle, they are our Radio Minutemen.
W4RON, 4 Alpha, New Hampshire, over.
How New Hampshire's hams stay ready to serve in an emergency.
When they had the flooding down in Candia and Raymond and all the cell phone sites went out, it was amateur radio operators that provided communications. When they had the ice storm in New London, it was amateur radio operators doing all the communicating for the state EOC.
She was 2 years old, weighed 10 tons, and her name was Tofu.
This is her Tofu's migration story. She was born, and you can see on the globe, if you push the button, it lights up, down by the Dominican Republic. Then she migrated up north to the Gulf of Maine.
Sharing the life journey of a humpback whale at the Seacoast Science Center. Plus, Fritz Weatherby's New Hampshire.
Great Sachem Passaconaway loved the town of Litchfield more than any other place. I'll tell you the story.
That's next on Chronicle. We live in the present and plan and worry about the future, yet it is the power of history that helps us to understand how we came to be.
250 years after the town of Wolfboro got its name, the celebration of that understanding is underway all year long at the home of the oldest summer resort in America.
Now, the folks at the Wolfboro Historical Society are joining in the festivities, of course. They work to preserve a one-room schoolhouse, a fire station, and the Clark House, an historical home that was built all the way back in 1778.
And the land was donated at about the turn of the century. There's about 3 or 4 acres here, and I'm told they have lovely farmer markets during the summer months on Thursday.
Yeah, it's a great way for generations to come to learn about the history and what came before them.
And speaking of history, and an icon who chronicled our history, Walter Cronkite.
Yes.
So what does Walter Cronkite, Chet Atkins, and King Hussein of Jordan have in common?
Well,
still guessing?
Not sure, but...
Well, they were all hams.
Ham radio operators do cool things. They like to talk to folks around the world, and, well, they help with communication during emergencies.
Now, New Hampshire's Radio Minutemen are ready to serve in a moment's notice if called upon. Amateur radio operators also act as ambassadors of goodwill to other states and countries wherever their radio signals travel.
Now, each year, hams from across the state take part in what is known as Field Day, where they hone their skills in preparation for when they might be called into service.
Jennifer Crompton listened in.
CQ Field Day, Kilo 1 Bravo, Kilo Echo.
Roger, you're 7 Alpha, Georgia. Uniform 4 uniform.
One Delta, South Carolina, thank you. This is K1 Bravo, Kilo Echo, Field Day, over. W4RON, 4 Alpha, New Hampshire, over.
1 Delta, North Carolina, have fun.
1 Delta, North Carolina, thank you. Have fun, too. This is K1BKE, Field Day, over.
We can't see radio waves, but their existence is loud and clear, especially on the 4th full weekend in June. That's when hilltops and fields like this one in Henniker sprout temporary antennas for the annual Amateur Radio Field Day, when hams, as they're known, collectively ham it up.
1 Charlie, Georgia, you're Mobile, over.
Roger.
Okay, thanks. Driving in his car. This is K1BKE. Who's the other station?
That's Dale Clement. In addition to being part of Field Day for nearly 50 years, he teaches how this century-old mode of communication works.
Where's the furthest away you've talked to someone?
On Earth?
Yes, on Earth.
Probably the other side of the world, which would be Australia or Tasmania.
Watching them set up speaks volumes about the passion of ham operators, whether it be their towers or their food. Louise French makes the mac and cheese, but she's a ham at heart.
So you've been doing it since 1959?
Yes, when we started our radio club here, K1BKE.
Her FCC call sign is K1LAS. That's how hams really know each other.
Sometimes I might forget Larry's name, but I remember him as N1PHV the rest of my life.
John Moore, or N1FOJ, is the president of the Contoocook Valley Radio Club. His is one of close to 10 set up across the state for Field Day, joining others across North America, competing to contact as many other hams as possible in the same 24-hour period.
CQ Field Day, K1 Bravo, Kilowatt Echo, over.
Dale Clement, AF1T, whom you've already met, is an absolutely fierce competitor. If I'm doing 700, he'll do 2,000. Just incredible.
Does he sleep?
No, he probably doesn't. Or if he does, he's learned how to talk in his sleep. Really.
Antennas of differing lengths are part of a variety of setups to demonstrate the different kinds of contacts that can be made.
My call is Kilo 1 Radio.
Kilo 1 Radio, this is Kilo 1 Bravo, Kilo Echo, 4 Alpha, New Hampshire.
All the calls are logged, some by hand, some on computer. Jerry Hull is a software engineer, and though Morse code isn't required for a ham license anymore, he prefers it.
It's the most efficient form of communication. If you have a very, very low-powered transmitter, you can still talk all around the world and talk to people less than the power of a flashlight.
And you find enough people out there to converse with?
Oh, God, I mean, there are thousands and thousands. I mean, I can go any time a day, 24 hours a day, and find somewhere, anywhere in the world, and just talk to people. Yeah.
As the American Radio Relay League saying goes, it's not your grandfather's radio anymore.
You can bounce signals off the ionized trails that meteors leave up in the ionosphere.
You can bounce signals off a rainstorm, too. Our new friend Dale is the world record holder in that. And club member Lee Scott?
The signal bounces off the surface of the moon and comes back to Earth. So it's Earth, Moon, Earth, EME, or what we call moon bounce.
He couldn't do it here without the giant antennas in his backyard, but he brought recorded evidence.
And that's Morse code being sent from Greece up to the moon and then back to my station.
But Field Day is also for those just getting started.
CQ Field Day, CQ Field Day. This is Kilo 1 Delta Foxtrot, Quebec, calling CQ Field Day. Listening?
Well, I'm working in the GOTA tent at the GOTA, and that stands for Get on the Air. The purpose of the GOTA station is to take people that have been licensed within the last year, to get them on the air. They may not even have a radio at home, so this gives someone an opportunity to exercise their privileges on the air, as well as bringing people that are not licensed, such as today we have some of the Boy Scouts with us and other people that just have been thinking about what ham radio is all about. The purpose is to get them behind the microphone, to maybe talk with a station in the Midwest, maybe on the West Coast, or even in another country.
There are roughly 2 or 3 million ham radio operators around the world. And in this country, there's about 570,000 or so.
Al Schumann advocates for the 5,000 radio licensees in New Hampshire, allowed by the FCC to use the frequencies because of the role they can play in emergencies.
When they had the flooding down in Candia and Raymond, and all the cell phone sites went out, it was amateur radio operators that provided communications. When they had the ice storm in New London, it was amateur radio operators doing all the communicating for the state EOC.
Don Curtis of Concord can set up his Go kit anywhere.
I'm pretty much ready to go. I just grab all this, throw it in my van, and I'm off and running.
It seems with hams, field day or any day, the sky is the limit.
Right now, I'm trying to contact somebody in every country of the world, according to the American Radio Relay League list. Now, there are 338 countries. I have 332. I'm only missing 6, but they're so rare and there's nobody there. It might take the rest of my life, but I'll have a lot of fun trying to do it.
Thank you. Thank you. Who's the other station? Okay, a little off frequency. Whiskey 9, Germany, Denmark, 4 Alpha, New Hampshire, over.
This message is for the lovely and talented Joanne Huff, who just turned 35 years old. Joanne, your husband Mike tells us he loves you very much and that you are a huge Chronicle fan, which makes me love you even more. Many happy returns, Joanne. Next year, you and I can turn 36 together. Hey, if you get a shout-out you'd like to give someone special, go to WMUR.com/Chronicle and send it our way. It's a gift like no other. You can't beat the price.